G'day, Charlie. Winn here from Orchard Coaching, and today I'm going to work through a few things, at 10 to be exact, that I wish that I personally knew 10 years ago. Now, this is obviously going to be a bit of a reflection of my personal journey, and maybe some of it may resonate with you. So number one, the thing I probably wished I knew 10 years ago is that positive thinking and how we fill our brain with thoughts has a much bigger impact than I knew 10 years ago, and that we have more control over how we fill our brains with thoughts than we often do, particularly I think when we're young. I think that's number one is actually controlling our thinking to be filling it with more positive thoughts, and that we can actually control them. So the second one is that continuous learning is what motivates me, and that just when I finished my second university degree, I thought that's all the learning I need to do in my life. But ultimately, if you don't continue to learn, you'll become staid and ultimately regress, at least in my experience. And I think 10 years ago, I was very static and stable, at least in my approach to learning and developing my own skills. So it's something which I think I should be doing every single day, is learning and being open to and bringing a growth mindset, which I've talked about in another video as well. Number three, it's probably not even 10 years ago, but I definitely didn't know that embracing my vulnerability is something that will allow me to grow significantly and to truly understand myself, and allowing myself to be vulnerable and to showing that to other people, to almost anyone, and knowing that that will improve me as a person and ensure that I can work on my empathy and develop that part. So embracing my vulnerability is something I need to do a lot more of. So that's what I've learned from 10 years ago. I wasn't embracing my vulnerability at all. The next one, which is also linked, is that leadership is not about you. It might sound silly, but often we bring our egos, and I definitely did 10 years ago think that leadership was about this ego inside me, and that ultimately that was the most important thing, is how I felt. Whereas it's not. It is ultimately about the people that you are leading. You can call them your followers, you can call them whatever you want to, but ultimately there are people that, if you are a leader, people will look to you for direction at many different levels and in many different parts of your life. And ultimately it's understanding that it can't be about your ego. It's got to be about those people that want to follow you. The next one is making a difference to people is a precious gift that you give to people. And it's obviously linked to the previous one. But if you understand the gift that you are giving and the impact that gift can have, it can really ensure that you are putting those people first, and that it's not your ego that may be driving that. Being 100% honest with yourself, which I definitely wasn't 10 years ago, was skipping over parts of my life or parts of my way I thought or parts of some behavior that I may have had, and not realizing the impact that it would have, not only myself, but also on the people around me and the people that I loved, and being 100% honest and making a decision to shift some of those things has had a bigger positive impact than I would have thought. So that honesty with yourself is another thing that I did think that I was being, but I know that I wasn't. Now, a couple of probably more easier things to grasp: continually turning up, just turning up every day, going to every training session if you play a sport, making sure you get to every single meeting, just turning up and creating your to-do list every single day. It makes a huge difference, just turning up. So that's one other thing. Actually, one thing I didn't realize as well, so this is number 6, I think, is I didn't realize I had the ability to actually understand or to be able to see the dynamic of a team as a whole, which I've realized a lot of people can't see. I just thought it was something that everyone could do. But actually looking at it as a team as a whole and understanding the dynamic or the positive or negative trajectory that dynamic within the overarching team may or may not have is something that comes to me which I didn't know 10 years ago. I think, and the last one is that the small things that we may think are small, which could be acknowledging someone for something they've done, which could be just an effort they've made, which is a little more than they did before, or has had a bigger impact than they may be aware. Those small, well, they may come across as small, or even could be just a smile or a nod or a thank you or acknowledgement. It definitely could be bigger than that, but often those small things can change people's not only view of you, which is an egocentric response to things, but ultimately can improve the way that they think about themselves and the way they think about the environment that they're within, of which you are obviously a part if you've made that interaction. So those small things can combine together and have a much wider impact. And that's something I've definitely learnt, is those small things create a much bigger impact than we may be aware. And ultimately, as to emphasize, is it's a positive interaction, which may be seen as small, but ultimately all those positive interactions build up to a significantly positive environment and culture that you're creating, whether it's within a team or an organization or just within a relationship that you're within. So I think that is 10. Yes, that's 10. So thank you for your time, Charlie, from Orchard Coaching.